Yeah,
Well,
that always
Maryland.
happens. Yep. Yep. The mayor for State College, which also includes University of Maryland, the whole area.
Man, the Big Ten
Yeah.
can't break it all. They just can't. Like between Michigan State and everyone else, that's it's bad stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, probably worth changing the subject now.
Yeah. Yeah.
As
How
part
about them
of this,
Lakers? No.
just to refresh my memory, because it's been a while since I've been on this. It's been like 9 John Burners since I've been on this.
That's a good one.
Let me ask, now, when this comes up, will I be able to see
save that, Joe? You should have saved that for the cold open there.
Will I be able to see the chat? I can bring it back. Will I be able to see the chat and stuff as people, so I can comment on those? I believe it comes across screen, right?
Oh yeah. So since you last were on, Joe, we are streaming to LinkedIn and YouTube as well as Facebook. But
I just didn't know if I should go there and watch, or if I should just stay on this and pay attention.
I would stay on this and pay
I would
attention
stay on
because
this.
you're going to be delayed even further looking at it on Facebook, for example.
Fair enough.
But the comments, you can pull up Facebook, watch the comments, and just turn off the sound.
Audio.
Yeah.
I've got my tablet set up just for those trolls because they love to troll on the show. Trolls be trolling.
I don't know. We haven't really had a good troll in a long time. Some Australian guy had some beef with DealerRefresh for some reason.
Yeah. Yep.
So we actually
Joe,
sent out a blast email to all of our clients for this.
All right.
Oh, good. Awesome. So do we. I was looking you up, Joe. It's been the last time we had you on with Sean Rains. It was 4 years ago.
Okay.
And 2 years ago we did that drop in for what was that?
I think Vitaly was in
We were
there.
doing some type of test. Yeah, there's a bunch of people and you dropped in. Yeah, I can't believe it's been
When
that
I
long.
can, I mean, like Friday afternoons are short of Mondays, our most busiest time. So that's why it's always so.
Well, we always had a client during this time.
Oh, yeah.
For years, we had a client at 1 o'clock.
Well, here you go. 5 seconds, guys. Hey.
What's happening?
Good morning, Adam.
Adam Denault, right out of the gate, coming in hot.
Guns hot.
Yes, you will see comments there.
Great, that's great.
Mm-hmm. And that pulls from what? Facebook, LinkedIn,
YouTube, and LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay.
Noise.
Okay.
Yeah. So you never know where they're going to come from. Ooh, yeah. Speaking of
Bunch of
And we got
ghosts.
Kelly.
Kelly's the ghost. I saw a post. She's looking for a new position.
To give her credit, she was the absolute first person to register for the DealerKnows summer camp. Literally, like day one that I posted it, just as a teaser. Interesting enough.
Does she live in the Georgia mountains?
No, she's making a trip. That's how awesome it's going to be.
That's the trick. Nobody lives in the Georgia mountains.
Just the unsavory types, apparently. So,
yeah. So let's jump into that. What's summer camp? All right, and I would always expect y'all to go outside the box and bring some archery to a dealer event, seminar, class. What is it?
Summer camp.
So, well, here, if I may, Bill and I were on this is February 2013, and Bill and I have been like each other's sounding boards for forever. Like I literally say, short of Bill, like only person I speak to more is maybe my wife and kids, and I still can't even guarantee that. But with that said, I remember we were on a video call, and I was looking at a stock photo image of a guy that looks sort of like a professor sitting outside in a field against a tree with a bunch of people listening to it, like adults. And I said, hey, quick question, because we've always been asked, when is DealerKnows going to have a seminar? When is DealerKnows going to have their own event? And I've been almost since the beginning, so like maybe 2009, 2008, when I started getting asked that. And while Jeff and I did the Dealer Think Tank one-day events, 7, 8 years ago, we never had it.
Yep.
And truth be told, a lot of conferences are pretty run-of-the-mill and are fairly, stagnant and mundane, and you just go from hall to hall to hall. So we always wanted, if we did have it, different. But I was looking at this stock photo, and I turned to Bill and I said, what would be the chance of us being able to hold a conference outside? And he's like, give me an example. I'm like, sort of like a summer camp. And he's like, bro, we totally can do a summer camp. He's like, I'm a super Boy Scout, Cub Scout, Eagle Scout, something. Like Bill is all about that life. And while my idea,
chair, that's all.
He sells the cookies.
while my idea of camping is, as I would say, is like a Holiday Inn Express without cable. I'm not an outdoorsy type guy. I've gone camping. I just don't like it. But with that said, I do believe that I was looking over notes from February 2013 that we started taking and putting the shell and outline of this together. And every couple of years, we'd come and revisit it. And we just never had the time. And so much fell upon when are we going to have the time, the resources, and most importantly, find the venue that has everything we want to pull this off, to do it right. And because
make it cost effective. I mean, because there's plenty of all those things in there, but like we're not like some of these other vendors out there where you can just throw hundreds of millions of dollars at everything under the sun. So trying to find an intersection of all those different things, it took a long time and a lot of research.
Yeah. So we as we started to put the outline together, we just got more and more excited about it, and everything started coming together. When I found the right camp and I went there, everything fell into place. And the more I talk about the concept, the more excited I get, the more people, I guess, get excited. But I think one of the things that spurred us to have it now is a couple different things. One is, well, first of all, I don't want to say COVID, but let's face it, half of everybody I know that went to NADA came back sick as a dog, me included. And
really?
because everyone's breathing right in each other's faces inside the conference halls, where it'll be nice to actually go outside and get some fresh air during the day, opposed to being locked inside. But secondarily to that, during COVID, it's been so easy to sell cars these last 2.5 years. I think people have forgotten how to truly sell and market and merchandise vehicles and manage people, because they haven't needed to. They haven't needed to strengthen that muscle in the last 2 or 3 years. So everybody that we've brought in and groomed, that we like and that we say, this is a really good kid, this is somebody who's going to lead our organization into the future, they don't really have their arms around all the different things that what it takes to truly sell, retail, service a vehicle. Well, services hasn't changed that, but into the future. So we really decided to aim for both executive managers or dealer principals at a dealership to bring, who it's primarily for, is their proteges, their up-and-comers, the future leaders of organizations. And because I think, by and large, we get so myopic in our individual roles in dealerships, where maybe they're a really solid internet sales manager, BDC manager, internet director, or a young sales manager, finance manager. They don't get to leave the four walls of that dealership. All their interactions with their leadership is within and under that roof. So right now, what dealers have previously done is send somebody to a big conference and hope they talk to the right booths and hope they go see the right speakers, of which there's 10 tracks every single hour, and they come back and they realize that they've just been fed sales pitches, and that's 100% what we want to avoid. Is we want the ownership or management and their proteges to come out and form a mentor and mentee bond together so they can see what they're doing. They can see them interacting. They can see how they're participating and being asked to get interactive into these conversations. And we're lining it up with people that we really do like most. And we're surrounding it with people that we know to give good messaging and to care for people and to care to see people grow industry, because so many conferences, as Bill wrote on our on the opening of our DealerKnows summer camp page, is like there's a level of douchebaggery that happens at conferences where it's all about like, hey, pat me on the back. Let me tell you how great I am. Let me tell you how I'm a success. And there's not a lot of
That doesn't
support
happen.
and championing of other people. And we're really trying to bring the right group of people together to lead the future of our industry together.
So how well can you make a campfire?
How did you? Well, I wanted to ask, like, how did you come across this place? Was it Camp Blue Ridge or something?
Yeah, Camp Blue Ridge. Google at first. I had narrowed it down to about 18 different camps, and then I narrowed it down further down to about 8 to 9, and I started calling, and just a few worked. And then when I went and visited the camp, it was right, because campgrounds are pretty sprawling, and this is shaped like a bowl. And while it's 250 acres, what's amazing is from the farthest thing that somebody might be at camp for our purposes would be the kickball field, and to walk from there to the farthest like vendor village cabin or the indoor auditorium is maybe a 10-minute walk. So I mean, 10 minutes is less than going from an expo hall in Vegas to go see a workshop.
To the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. So it really is. It's a really great venue. And with that said, we're going to have to flip what people's expectations are on their head, because while a few of the buildings have air conditioning, and well, a handful have air conditioning, and most have power, there are no slide projectors, there are no screens. We are bringing in people who are primarily trainers and can be a trainer by nature and not a speaker, not somebody who's just going to look at their slide deck and read from it, but somebody who can really connect one-to-one with the people there in front of them. And there's going to be a lot of note-taking, and there's barely cellular activity at the camp. So I love the idea of bringing people together, almost like it's like that scene in Bronx Tale, which once you get them there, now you can't leave. I mean, like, this is 100% immersive experience all day into the night, surrounded by people who want to see you grow.
Will there be alcohol?
Now, it was.
Yes.
So I was doing some research on this place. It was my understanding that this is actually a nudist campground.
Yeah, right. So that's how we got a really
surprise.
Are clothes optional at this event?
It will be when you come, Jeff. If I may, just in regard to the alcohol question, because while we are going to, in between educational sessions, there will be, outdoor team building activities, whether it be archery or tug of war or kickball or soccer or basketball or tennis or low ropes course or disc golf. Like, there will be things that, no, we don't have that. There will be things that people are going back.
There's still projectiles still.
Yeah, but I do not want. I don't want to have a bunch of drunkards running him around in the middle of the day. That is not the purpose of this.
Ed Brooks has got the right question.
So DealerKnows will not be serving alcohol until come dinner time. But with that said, those sponsoring vendors that are part of our vendor village, because the entire camp is sort of surrounded by these really cool, cabins that people attend, whether it be, boys' cabin, girls' cabin. And instead of getting a booth, sponsoring vendors get an entire cabin as a blank canvas to do whatever with they want. And as part of that, I imagine some will be offering drinks to lure people in. Beer pong would be a great idea, Adam, to lure people in from that. But hopefully we keep people busy and engaged enough where they don't start visiting all the vendor villages for drinks until later much later in the day. The
Good
purpose
idea.
is to grow people, not to get them hammered.
Well, you're gonna be outdoors in Georgia in late May. You're probably not gonna want to
It'll
get
be
like super
beautiful.
dehydrated. Otherwise, we're gonna try to get like our merit badge for like first aid or something like that. So, but the idea is that there's so many distractions when you go to a conference, and you guys we always talk about us being old guys, right? And kind of the first crop, but I mean, like those early camps, or not camps, were conferences were more like camps in the fact that they were immersive. It wasn't like the
Mhm.
free candy van showing up at every conference and people just dispersed to go wherever and find the new shiny object or get wooed by a vendor. It was just sort of us. And like, if you were a vendor there, you went to the bar afterwards to hang out and just, share war stories or whatever.
That
And,
was the Rosin Creek was such a good venue for that.
yeah, but even like
Yeah.
that
And
time,
that was still years into it too. But yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like the learning extended above and beyond just the session. Like you had access to the speakers, you had access to SMEs, you had access to your peers, which was very, very important back in those early times. And we talk about the nostalgia of camp, and we, those of us who attended, or those of us who are parents who take their kids to camp every year, there's that nostalgic part. But I'm nostalgic for those old days too of learning, where we actually went to a conference and actually took away something we could put in motion, but then also like this, like just free ideas. You know what I mean? It wasn't like an idea, this notion of like, oh, we build a shield around ourselves, or it's going to cost something to get some, whatever. Like people were just happy to share notes and riff on different ideas and help each other out. And we're hoping that having this type of environment where there will be campfires to have conversations and s'mores and all those things, and there'll be drinks. But that's that time where people can actually interact with a speaker. A lot of the speakers we've talked to plan on staying the full duration, and every single camp is going to have a counselor, and so they're going to have a person there that can actually help shepherd them through the different sessions to help them really better understand how they can apply what they've learned, and at the very end, like actually help them build a plan and how to implement something when they get back to their dealership. So one of the other things we're trying to do for dealerships here is really boost our ROI on a camp. Actually get a return on your investment, because that's what a conference should be. And if it's just all about going to Nobu and wherever else, like there really isn't much of an ROI on those situations other than just the relationships that get created. And we all know on this call, a lot of these dealerships will send people there just to have them get stolen away. You know what I mean? And we don't want to do that. That's why it's important to have that mentor-mentee relationship to build a real community around this event. And so we're not trying to replace other conferences or compete. Like this is something completely different for us. But especially as trainers and consultants, like we want to make sure we build a good environment for the next generation to come up. And I don't want to, like, I feel like we've seen it happen in the last 15, 20 years where like a lot of people got tainted. I use that word very purposefully by a lot of these other conferences, where that kind of stunted their growth, it stunted their trajectory. And we want to solve that. So when people, at least they have an option where they can send somebody and they know that that person's going to come back with a plan that's actionable.
What do you mean by tainted, Bill? Let's
Well,
unpack that a little bit.
I think when you see how people go by the vendor booths and stuff like that, like NAD is a great example where like they're like dealers are getting like practically tackled in the aisleway a lot of times, and they're getting turned off by certain things, or they're saying, hey, like don't talk to that person, talk to me, or all those different things. Like to me, I think it just creates like a negative, hate to say it and use the word, but it's like a negative energy around that situation where it's all about perfectionism. It's all about monopolizing the information. But I think too, then it's also about almost like you're doing things just to get on the vendor radar. So they'll take you out to a meal or take you out to a show or do those types of things. And when we talk about like on the website, talk about the bro culture, I think like that's what gets sort of keeps it going, is like it's almost like a fraternity in a way where people get hazed into it. But what happens is that they're putting those expectations of the new people that come in. And I think we all know I dare use the word millennial, but I think when you come in, when you get these, younger folks who are joining the car business, they're being forced into a culture and into an environment that's not comfortable for them. And I feel like if it's all about the people, if dealerships are all about the people, then we need to build better people. We need to have people that are more reflective of the composition of their audience and the people in their community and the demographics that are around them and all those things. And I feel like we've sort of seen this disservice by the conferences in a way, because it sort of reinforces some of those negative behaviors that people look at a car salesperson and they think they have those things. And I think it gets reinforced every day inside of car dealerships all across the continent.
And if I may, just like, I think Bill and I care so much about the message to make sure that good information is going in and not bad information. That it's one of the reasons why, you know, we handpicked speakers. Nobody reached out and said, "Can I speak?" We've handpicked the people that we know to be subject matter experts at every single level, and we're still handpicking some of those speakers. With that said, we're also in some cases handpicking the vendors that are sponsoring. Like, these are organizations that we know serve dealers well, and organizations have reached out to us that we know don't serve dealers well, and organizations have reached out to us that have done wrong by our clients, and we've said, you know what, this time there's just not a space for you. There's not a spot for you. There's limited spots anyway, but because of that, we're not allowing vendors, unless they're a sponsoring vendor, we're not allowing them to attend our event.
So no Grant Cardone.
We just
sounds so mean.
There's not enough space. There's not space for there's no landing strip for a jet to land on there.
Oh,
so
okay.
not this time.
Yeah, he is a viral sensation who would be too large in popularity for our event.
Yeah, we can't contain it.
Yeah. So, but with that said, it's like, we only want the people that we know to that care about and protect because let's face it, some of the people that we're asking to come in, the young sales managers, the super internet sales managers, BDC managers, even if they've been to a few conferences before, they're still rather impressionable, and we don't want the wrong people getting hooks into them. So we want to, you know, fill them up with a level of purpose and focus and hope, and not just not only vendors, but the vendors we're having there, they usually couldn't go wrong by working with them, you know, because they have good relationships and we have good relationships with them. So we just don't want it to be, and also for the vendors' sake that are participating, we don't want it to be like some of these recent events that are 85% vendors and 15% dealers. We have a limited amount of people that we are allowing in this camp. You know, like, I wanted to set
that would be a pretty good ratio for some conferences I've been to. I went to one recently. It was 100% vendors. Something else.
And I gotta say, like, there's room for all that in conferences and events. And like I said, so it's not to besmirch, you know, the Grant Cardones of the world. And, you know, we're kidding here, right? Like, but there's plenty of space for people like that, right? Part of it too is being selective with the speakers. Is there's people we want to bring their voices forward that sometimes get lost behind the noise of other folks, and we feel like, hey, they got a great message to share, and we've got some, you know, phenomenal speakers that we've talked to and lined up, and some people we haven't even announced yet to keynote, where their message is very powerful, and it would get lost, you know, when people are, you know, talking about, you pick your abbreviation, CDP, you know, FMLA, you know, feline HIV, whatever they're talking about. And I can't keep track of all the abbreviations. But the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of stuff that gets lost because of that. And I feel like that beyond a shadow of a doubt, after working with thousands and thousands of people over the years, and, you know, dozens and hundreds of, you know, almost 1,000 different dealerships now, the people part gets lost. The culture part gets lost. The how-to part gets lost, you know, behind the, like, you need to do this. So that's part of too why we wanted to avoid the overhead projectors and all that stuff. Like, that was very intentional, because we want people to teach. We want people that are going to be there that can, you know, get shoulder to shoulder with somebody and go, hey, like, this is how you can do it. This, or check this out, or this is a plan that we can put together. This is a brief that we can write. So that way it's understandable. And a lot of people we know are good presenters, They're fantastic presentations they give, but you put them in that same situation, like, hey, you're at a rural Chevy dealership in the middle of the nowhere Midwest. Can they make that person better? A lot of times they can't, because there's too many variables they don't know. It's something so far outside of what they're used to, it gets lost. So we want to be able to appeal to that. So it's, very, very diverse group of speakers in terms of backgrounds and where they're from and what they do.
Who are some of them?
Oh, great.
Well, that was my next question. Who do you have lined up?
We can take it out a full list, but first let me just say, as we get into the speakers, that the success or failure of this event isn't based around. It's not going to be successful because it's a summer camp. I think it's going to be successful because of our camp counselors, some of the people that we have selected to be camp counselors, because camp counselors there to sort of help keep the day one speakers, or what we're calling trailblazers, and they are by and large from a trailblazers perspective, they're going to be talking about do it yourself, high energy, high effort, limited budget, fundamental best practices in a way to embrace that specific topic, because we've identified 15 different topics that we believe that the future leaders in organizations need to have a good handle on as they start to take on more responsibilities outside of their current job duties. And for that reason, we're going to have some people who can just talk about the tactical aspects of that. The day two speakers are what we're calling trail masters. And those are people that are going to be focused on, okay, once you've embraced that, let's go and invest. Like what happens once you do this across an enterprise of stores? What happens when you invest money, and not just time and effort, but money and incorporate in technology to not just embrace and get better at this topic, but to really dominate this topic, dominate a market on this topic. And then the camp counselors on day three help meld day one and day two together, and they go and share their own best practices and give people sort of takeaway implementation strategies right away. But moreover, during those in-between sessions, when they're going to be doing archery or kickball or any of these other activities, they are there to be an ambassador for leadership. I want them to put other people in charge to go and task people on their team, in their camp, because we're assigning every single camp counselor attendees in which they are going to lead during these sessions. So during these other sessions, they'll have the speakers there with them and their camp counselor with them. So if they have other questions about what they just heard from a session, they have people that they trust that they can lean on right then and there to sort of flesh that out with them. So I mean, as the topics, and we can talk about like keynotes. What we've announced so far is Charlie Wolberg, who Bill knows well, Bo Pisker, who I know as well, and Bill, do you want to talk a minute about Charlie? Do we want to spend? A list of people if you want.
Yeah, and anybody can go to our website. There's a pop-up; it'll take you right there. You can see the list of speakers are updating it every day.
By the way, what is the website, just so people can go over there now?
DealerKnows.com, and you'll see right at the top, DealerKnows Summer Camp. There's a pop-up as well.
Yeah,
to learn all about it.
Yep. So, but part of being in control of the speakers, we wanted to get some different voices in there. I've known Charlie for, better part of 10 years. Met him at South by Southwest. He's a Detroit agency guy. He's worked with the Big Three and a bunch of other, bigger, more, commercial companies and things of that nature. But he's also the curator of TEDx Detroit. So he's just a phenomenal idea guy, big energy guy. For me, I think we need to hear different voices, especially when it comes to the marketing and advertising side. I think we get a little carpet bomb from the same people. And so I think we need somebody who can bring the energy that we need to the camp, but also have that sort of broader understanding of behavior and how to be creative. And he, he's funny. He's, I think the title of this thing is if you're, it's the only dude your marketing's well if it's pissing people off type of thing. But I mean, it's that type of attitude that I think that we need. We need people, that kind of energy, that kind of thought process. And with all the speakers, like, it's kind of on brand with Jonah. They got to be able to navigate those waters as well, because people, just like your email you guys sent this morning, like, we're not boring people. We try to add a little levity to any situation, especially if it's complicated or could potentially be boring. So we definitely need to have a speaker that can lift people up in that way.
Can he catch a kickball?
I'm sure he could, and I think one of the things he likes to talk about is he was a former punk band singer in like the early '80s. So
he rocks already.
He ran the gamut. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're hoping he'll make it for karaoke, because it'll be epic.
We also have
Nice.
a gentleman by the name of Bo Pisker, who's a business strategist. He has not spoken at any automotive conference. Business strategist, but the amazing background coming up through his youth. His mother was a Ukrainian war hero, and was brought over to America from Ukraine from what became the CIA. But he is a West Point graduate, master's at Harvard, spent 10 years in the U.S. Army, tank commander, and has been investing all of his time in mobile technology and telecom solutions, startups, and an inventor, countless patents, and now he's in cybersecurity. So we're going to really have him talking about growing teams and sort of just how you mix business and life. We've got a third we haven't announced yet. I don't know if we're going to, but like going through some of the topics if I can. Bill and I are most known for lead management, CRM, communication. It's literally what we're primarily brought in to help a lot of dealers with. And we've got Brian. So while he and I are speaking, we've got Brian Armstrong, who's a dealer, as the camp counselor for that, to help manage them, because we want to incorporate in some dealers here as well. Search optimization is another category, and we have Eric Milch of Dealer Teamwork, Dane Seville of Search Lab, Dave Spanicky of Reunion Marketing talking about search optimization. Social media, as a camp counselor, we have Andrew Street of Dealer OMG. We've got Joey Little, who's a dealer, formerly of In, but as a dealer, talking about social media, and Robin Wilson, who runs an agency as well, super at social media. Strategic marketing, so how to collaborate and put together a marketing mix. Right now we've got Ron Morrison and Micah Burkholz speaking there. Ron Morrison, a pure influencer, Micah of Vistadat. We've got just sales management and leadership.
You're going to get a phone guy? Because I really would love to see you get Vitaly into a tent in the woods.
Well, we're a phone guy too.
I just want to see Vitaly get out there in the nature side.
In just a tracksuit. Like, what is this? Listen, I love me some Vitaly, but yeah. So, but we're tackling camp like sales management and leadership. I've got a general sales manager that's really disciplined. That's going to be speaking and training. John Gottstock of Military Auto Source, Tim Kintz of the Kintz Group, used vehicle acquisition. We've got Danny from Country Hill Motors. He's a dealer, as well as from VinQ. Tom Gregg from Van, and Jason Rice is the camp counselor from Lot Pop, all about acquiring used cars. We've got a whole section about culture that Subi Ghosh heads up. We've got customer attention. We've got Danny Benitez from Zip Deal. We've got Owen Moon. I almost said Owen Wilson. Thank God, I wouldn't allow him. Owen Moon from Fix Ops.
Wow.
Owen Moon from Fix Ops Digital, and Megan Bartow from Vin Solutions. So when I think about like customer attention, as I've said for years, like as dealers, we dedicate 95% of our budget on conquest and 5% on retention. And a brilliant organization would probably at least try to flip it, make it like 80 on retention and 20 on conquest. So when we think about customer attention, Megan can come in and talk about, how to reach out to people who are in equitable situations and how to leverage that type of data to bring them in. And Owen Moon can talk about the fixed ops side. How do we keep people coming back to our service departments? Because that greatly helps customer retention as well. And then Danny as the camp counselor from the finance side, how much finance can influence people coming back in from a retention standpoint. We've got another dealer, Jim Nelson from Camping World, which is in the RV game, not even automotive retail. talking about operational strategy, bringing all the different profit centers of a dealership together. Well, whether it be through people or technology or just or just the commerce side of it. Digital retailing obviously is a important aspect. We've got Pete McInnes from
Oh,
Eland
sorry.
Solutions, and
That was to the topic, not the
Well, it is a dead thing. Some certain pundits are talking about how it's a giant failure and nobody wants it.
Yeah,
But either way, we're having a session about it.
And the amazing Carrie Weiss, friend of mine from AutoFi, is a camp counselor. We've got video talks. So we've got Gail Rubenstein from Retail Resilient, Jason Harris from Digital Dealership Solutions, and then one of our very good friends, Dave Hudson, who's just a filmmaker who films videos and commercials for dealerships and trains salespeople on how to just utilize their cell phones on how to make a video presence for themselves. And we've got our title sponsor, Flick, Timmy James. And so, we are not pay to play. Like, I reached out to every single speaker before even leveraging or, getting any sponsorships. If I had to put on DealerKnows Summer Camp on my own and with Bill, we would have, we'd do it. But I think having vendors there is an important aspect of it. But Timmy James is who we've known forever. I've known Timmy since I was a salesman.
I haven't heard his name in forever, man.
I knew Timmy since I was an internet sales manager. 24?
Oh yeah. Well, he was HomeNet, right?
What's that?
Yeah, but way back in the day. That's why I met him.
I know him from HomeNet. Yeah.
Yeah, he called on my dealership with her, when he was with HomeNet, and that's how I got to meet him. He's like the second main person I met in the industry. It was him and a buddy named Jason Putnam. So Eliana Raggio, now of DealerRefresh, heads up reputation management. Jamie Oldershaw is going to be who helped bring up and start DealerRater. So dealers need to care about reputation management. And I know I'm going on, and then we have selection, hiring, orientation, and training, which we call Camp SHOT. Because that's something that, how do we bring people in? How do we find them? How do we recruit them? How do we properly interview them? How do we put them through an orientation? How do we keep ongoing training and building people up? And we've got Katie Mayers as the camp counselor for that. And I think I'll be also weighing in on that because it's something that I'm strong about. And a newly released topic we haven't even added is Camp Dork. And Camp Dork is Camp data organization, research, and knowledge. And right now, Eric Schlesinger is is one of the speakers and trainers for Camp Dork.
You couldn't make that Camp Nerd somehow?
No, Dork worked better in the acronym category. So I tried that one first, but it didn't make a lot of sense. So we can't forget.
Yeah. No, if I may, and I'll just last thing.
We missed Ryan Leslie, though, who is the nicest guy in the car industry, and we missed Ryan Leslie.
I didn't say Ryan Leslie.
You didn't say Ryan Leslie.
But I'm going to say Ryan
and
Leslie.
He's watching right now.
Shame on
he
him.
is going to remember this.
Of course he is.
No. Ryan just shared today, and I even wrote that Ryan's the nicest guy. Now, you know how I know he's the nicest guy? Is I was with my sister. I brought my sister out to a Las Vegas karaoke-thon. And my sister's a performer down in Las Vegas. And just because if you had seen some of the, evil bastards that were at the karaoke-thon eyeing her as prey, I turned to Ryan. I'm like, Ryan, I'm leaving her with you. Like Ryan is he's the perfect guy. He's a perfect man. I love Ryan. But
he rides with me in my wallet every day. I've got his son's card in here, and think about.
And because of that, we're going to find a way to, because of something he brought to us, we're going to find a way to incorporate a small section about cause marketing into our session. And a previous day, we're going to focus on DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. But 10% of all the ticket sales for this go to two autism charities that are very important in the lives of Bill and myself. But the last thing with Camp Door Kits, it's not just about the data, because a lot of people can give data. It's what do you do with the data now that you have it? How do you actually take the data and turn it into a strategy or fix something?
Data organization. Because it's one of those things where clearly we're trying to like check a lot of boxes here in terms of things we feel that are missing in conferences. But Joe and I have had a lot of discussion about this, and the last thing that anybody needs to see is another effing pie chart or bar graph or something like that. Like, we've watched enough audiences just glaze over. So we're challenging ourselves and challenging the speakers to come up with really fun ways to utilize data. You guys know me as a data person, but I know firsthand how fast you can bore somebody for just spitting out numbers. And so it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to make it really interesting. So if you're inclined to learn more about that, we're going to do it in a way that makes a little more sense.
How many days is it?
2.5, almost 3.
Almost 3 days.
Okay.
And there's a party the night prior, having apparently at one of the like great Southern food meccas out there in Georgia. We're going to have some great Southern food, and then open it up into a karaoke-thon, and then 2 straight full days, including entertainment at night, and the vendor villages, and all the educational sessions and the team building exercises. It is going to be a little bit exhausting, but it'll be a little bit exhausting, but I think I want it to be fulfilling. As Bill was talking about early conferences, I went to the first digital dealer I ever went to. I remember I had met so many great people. I really felt validated. I felt like, oh my God, I'm on the right path. I'm not alone, and the stuff I'm doing in dealerships, other people are doing, and I remember getting back at the end of the second night, maybe the third night, getting back to my hotel, and I tell the story like I sat on the edge of my bed and I cried. Like I cried that I wasn't like a grown man with a skin knee after watching Braveheart. I cried, and it's just because I felt like I was part of a community, and I felt and I'd met people that I knew that people cared about me and wanted to see me succeed. And damn it, if I'm not going to go and find a way to give that back to today's up and comers now.
Mm-hmm.
We're so sweet.
I'm a sweetie.
So, if anybody is looking at a map and they feel like that this is going to be a pain in the butt to get to, we're actually taking care of transportation between Atlanta Hartsfield and the campground as well. I want to make sure, because I'm sure people looking are like, holy crap, that's a long way, but we've actually thought about that. Part of why it took so long to find the right venue is just to find the right formula in terms of doing that. So we want to make this as pain-free as possible. If you want to drive, that's great. There'll be parking, you make to walk a little bit, but we try to take
so you go from hotel to the campsite each day.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll bus people back from Atlanta out to the hotel, and then the hotel is like 10 minutes away tops from the campground every single morning. Bus them back at night. If somebody needs to go back to the hotel for any reason, there's still going to be the buses there and they can take them. But if they want to skip out on all the amazing, crazy content and fun that's happening, they could. But who wants to do that? Because when a dealer sends their team, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is fully covered. It's all there at the campground, as are all refreshments. You don't have to give them a per diem and hope they have to go out and make reservations at Capitol Grill or anything. It is, everything happens right there at the campground.
Can you bring your own
if people
camper?
want to show up? Oh, yeah.
If you want to, you absolutely could come and stay on the campground. And if
it's not on the campground proper, but it's like literally like right down the road. So I mean, you could totally bring your own.
If you want to bring an RV or a camper, yes. If you want to bring a tent and sleep on the field, you can do that too.
You want to level up. Alex is going to bring his axe and his, all of his lumberjack gear and a tent, and he's going to do it up right.
If you wanted to,
I bring my bow for the archery stuff. That'd be fun too.
You can't cheat. You cannot cheat. You got to have the little kid bows. You got to make it equal.
Oh, okay.
I heard Jason Rice was bringing his RV and was going to hold some parties in it.
He absolutely can if he wants to.
He's listening. But no, we've had people inquire about that, and there is an RV park that's just like right down the road from the campground, like walking distance that they can do that. And so I think it's important for the audience to know, like, being in the middle of, rural Georgia, there isn't a ton of accommodation. So we've got blocks set up at a couple of different hotel, or not really call them hotels, but they're kind of like hotels, but that are nearby. They're lodges. Yeah, but we do have a couple things blocked for that, but they're not going to hold them forever. So it's one of those things where if you're,
I think our first room block at our main hotel goes away on March 22nd. So if you're thinking about booking, I'd book soon, because there's only in total 80, 90 rooms there. And then the other place has maybe another 80, 90 rooms, and then your butt stand at like a Drury Inn. I mean, so like, I would urge people to, if they want to be in with the crowd, we picked the right place, man. Like, we picked the right place.
It's going to be like a college campus. So we have the whole thing for ourselves. So it'll be a lot of fun, but I want to make sure that just we're covering our bases here. It's different than Dallas, when you can there's any number of hotels that you could stay at. So this is one of the compromises that we'd have to make with any type of facility like this. But we wanted to bring the summer camp experience at a real live summer camp, so we can do these things and have the ropes courses and have the canoeing and things of that nature. And so I got to tell you, the feedback we've got so far, guys, has just been crazy. Like, I knew it'd be cool, but I didn't. I'm a little nutty, right? So I kind of thought maybe just in my mind and Joe's mind, we're echo chambering each other. But the feedback we've had has just been extraordinary. I didn't sit on my bed and cry, but I might have gotten a little misty eyed just hearing
that was 20 plus years ago. Yes,
just hearing the stories and hearing people kind of talk about their camp experience in their life, and it's just been a positive thing to hear. And I'm glad that people are genuinely excited about going to a conference again. It's not I got to go I could Vegas again. Jesus Christ. Like, it's not one of those situations. It's people really genuinely are excited about this. And it goes to show, like, the people need this. They still want to get education. They still want to learn. They still want that camaraderie. They still want to build that community. They still want mentors, and they want to have access to smart people. And I'm really happy that we're able to provide that to people. I'm glad that it all came together, and I'm really happy you guys invite us to come on the show and talk about it.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I do. I'm
mentioned earlier about
Alex's tent, though. I just think of Alex's tent with like a couple rabbits strung out underneath. He goes like full native. He's got like blood war paint. That's all I can imagine.
I'll show you some Braveheart, boys.
You mentioned earlier with it being a nudist camp, but what is what's the dress attire?
If you want to see me, I'll send you some pics.
Wait, I'm glad you talked about that, because no high heels, no suits, no Rolexes. Leave that shit at home.
That's
you can
why
say
I'm
that
asking.
every other conference you go to. We want to make this, and then I guess if you desperately want to do that for yourself, that's fine. But we want to make this as casual as possible.
T-shirt,
so just wear deodorant, shower,
shorts and sneakers.
Exactly.
Y'all do realize it's springtime in East Coast and the mountains. It does rain.
Yeah, it could be warm.
Yep. It could be warm. It could be. And the people that own the camp even said end of May, because it's in the mountains. They said it'll be perfect during the day, but it could be a little cool in the evenings. But guess what? The nice thing is, we're not always we're learning inside, and we can still do everything we want to do if we needed to inside, except the outdoor activities. But the type of people that want to come to this camp, if it's raining, it's going to make it better. I went and saw Red Hot Chili Peppers like 4 months ago with my wife, and it was like a torrential downpour hurricane. And guess what? Not because of the band. Man, that was a fun show, man. Like, when you just give in to the fact that I'm here and I'm going to take everything that comes with it, it makes you experience things in a different way.
Yeah. And I know Jeff's got his summers and scouts like my kids are. And that's one of the things, like, when you've done those summer camps and the weather's just terrible, everybody laughs about it. There's a certain, like, okay,
you just
this
gotta give in. Just give in to it.
Yeah. And then, but it becomes a good time. It becomes part of the memory. And we feel like that just adds another way to bring people together. That we went through this type of stuff. And so, like I said, we're just super, super excited. Funny you mentioned the wet, Alex, because Mike and I, we haven't released the video yet, but we talked about the right kind of socks to bring to this event, just so your feet stay
Wool.
dry. So,
Wool socks.
I'm rocking my
Wool's
Made in
the best.
Vermont Darn Toughs right now, just for
Some
Alex.
darn
So,
toughs, yeah, for sure. So am
so,
I.
but
So,
we,
Bill, you're going to have to send me that brand so I can order some because I know what
we
to buy.
yeah. So one of the things, this is something I think Alex would appreciate, is that I want to do it's the 1-pack challenge. I've been talking to other people about this. Is like, pack all your stuff in your backpack, and if you can pack all your stuff for summer camp in one backpack, I'm going to give you a merit badge.
Easy.
I'm going to give you a merit badge. And it's
That
sweet.
is that's not a chance for
Are
me.
you guys going to be handing out merit
Just-
badges?
They
Well,
make
I-
some big backpacks, Joe.
Yeah, but listen, do you see how big
CPAP
my
machine.
shirts are? My shirts are twice the size. All my clothes are twice the size of your clothes. But no, so just like we've done in the past with our like digital media battles back in the day at driving sales, we're a big believer in giving out medals. So maybe not badges, but I will say people and the camps. You know, when like search optimization faces off against camp customer attention, and they go at it, you know, in kickball, those winners are going to get, going to get medals, and we will see who accumulates the most medals over the course of time. We want some competition, and we want camaraderie, and we want supportiveness, and just we want good people around us.
Please tell me you're not doing participation trophies.
No, well, listen,
You got to win it.
being around Bill and I is participation trophy enough.
There's still winners and losers there too. But yeah, we definitely will have. We don't want to give away all the stuff though. I mean, everybody got a T-shirt at least on the deal, but there won't be any participation.
Yeah, we've got some swag that everybody's going to get, and again, the sponsoring partners. We've got some great sponsors as well that are going to be joining in, and we're going to be launching a sponsor page on our website within the next few days. So we're excited about the people that the organizations that are going to be coming to support us and to support the people that are there. So it is just going to be a fun, like for the vendor village side, again, each one is going to theme their own cabin. So, I've already heard one's doing sort of a Wild West theme, and one might potentially have like a caricature artist, and one is going to be doing their own take on martinis, and just the fun, weird things that they're going to bring to the table that will lure people that, because we want them to network. Like, networking is the name of the game, and we're excited about everything.
And collaborate. I was going to say though too, there is rumor one might actually have smoked brisket.
You got to. You're in Georgia.
Yeah, you definitely have some smoking.
But we've tried to make sure that we could differentiate in any way, shape, or form, and understanding, like, it's been on your form a million times. Oh, it's a vendor fest and vendor blow, right? But we also rely on that community, and some of us on this conversation have been on the vendor side, for years and know what that's like. But even with the vendors, we're very intentional who the vendors are. Any kind of pitching and like that, like I said, it's something that they've already agreed not to do. More of a collaboration. How can we help? Like they're excited to talk to people and try to learn more. So it's not about just having fun and having like margarita machines. That'll be cool too. But I mean, really, even that, like understanding that that's part of what keeps these conferences moving forward. If we're honest with ourselves, we want to differentiate that as well. So just if you're on the fence, if you're a dealer thinking about, okay, well, hey, they just said like, it's going to be a group of people that really want to work with you and not just pitch you, but also learn from you and learn how they can solve your problems. So even that will be as differentiated as we can possibly make it. And if people are pitching, like, tell Joe and I, because we'll get pissed off and we'll throw them out.
They can do whatever they want.
You can throw them off a mountain.
Yeah, we'll have that. We'll make stockades in the middle of the campground for those people. They'll just be like this.
It is not our job to tell how to run their business, but they can do whatever they want in their cabin. But I imagine if word gets out that all they're doing is pitching, then they won't get as many visitors to their cabin.
Yeah, for sure.
Very true.
In the end, I think what we want to do is we want to help promote the future leaders of automotive retail, and we want to allow the current leaders to bring those people, be there with them, so they can return and make some things that they can implement immediately, but also they can make sure that those people that they don't want to see taken from them, they want to invest in their success and promote and plan out a path for their promotion and make sure that they're giving them a little bit of education from a lot of different, well-rounded experts, that when they take that next step, they're more prepared than less.
Yep.
And that's what we want to bring to dealers.
So
that's good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, something you're hitting on, like, you were an internet manager 24 years ago, and we were all on the boat where we were on our own islands, or maybe even the closet, just because they didn't have an office for us to be in or something.
That's you, Alex.
What are you trying to say, Alex?
Well,
come on. Way to recover, Alex.
All right. Well, I literally was in a closet as an internet manager. So, but you just remind me of something. Tom Harsha, right?
Love him.
Absolutely.
Love him. He and I were talking about utilizing Tom for something until there was one other. I love Tom. Tom is probably pound for pound as what I used to consider like an internet sales trainer. One of the best guys around. Love him. Yeah.
So he's got the attitude now that he's been there, done so many things, and his whole point is to help grow the next generation now, and that's what he's all about. And it sounds like that's all you guys are trying to accomplish as well.
And that's what I was getting ready to say, and that's what Joe said. Kind of wrapped a bow around what I said about earlier about people being quote unquote tainted. But I really think dealerships have done themselves. I mean, the whole industry, not just dealerships, have done themselves a disservice by letting people go. And I'm after consulting for so long now, like it's one of those things where I see all this money and time and energy and effort gets invested into people just to let some old fart get the best of them, and they either quit or they get fired. And it's such a shame because we're cheating ourselves of a whole generation of people who are really smart. And just because they might talk a little bit differently or have different idea about work ethic or whatever, we let that influence us too much. And we rob ourselves, I think, of a lot of great people. And it's just sad. It's sad to me to see this happen. And Joe and I have, we're pretty personally invested in all of our clients. We get that way over the years. And I'm sure you guys have been that way too over the years. And
I've been to several weddings of our clients, and the children of our clients. I've been to the weddings.
Yeah. But I mean, it's sad to me to understand like this is happening, and or somehow we're okay with it. And so when I think about these other venues and our conferences and other workshops and things that happen, like they bitch about the millennials, they bitch about the Gen Zs, they bitch about the people who are from a different community or look a different way or whatever. And it's like, dude, they're not minting any more baby boomers. Okay. Like wake up call. They're all dying and there's no more being made, so we have to also
okay, boomer.
Adapt. But exactly right. But we have to adapt because that's all we're going to have left. And so if we have people who are passionate about their job and they're passionate about their customers and they really want to do good work, why are we letting them go? And why are we and it's not even the managers or the leadership team letting it happen. It's somebody else in the middle or lateral that person that because they don't look or act or sound a certain way, they get forced out and we cheat ourselves of that next generation.
Damn politics.
But I definitely agree on the next generation piece. But at the same time, that the younger generation, it's going to take a while to adapt.
No, I get it.
Just overall, they're a different. I don't want to say a different breed, but they're struggling.
No, with that said, we still have.
That's why we're here to help them, right?
Yeah,
right.
When I look at like our sales management leadership track, like I think that's going to be invaluable if people's next steps is going to be that sales management role, so they can hear from how disciplined people do it well, and maybe it works for at least what they can very, very much do is just embrace it, see it, and take one or two pieces of that and adapt it into what they're currently doing or what they want to do when they get into that position.
Exactly. We're all skilled negotiators.
Yeah.
We all know how to meet in the middle, we just don't somehow know how to meet in the middle on a lot of these things with the HR side of things. And I agree with you, Jeff, but at the same time, like we got to take a step. We got to start with the first step. And so if that means creating an
Yeah,
action
I
plan,
agree.
that's because we don't expect in 3 days for people to retain everything. We'd love to. That's part of why we're asking all the camp counselors to help them come up with a plan so that they can take that one step and just take that first inch in the marathon that it'll take to go there. But I feel like, as we're trying to navigate all these changes as an industry, not just from the people side inside the dealerships, but just the different makes and models of vehicle and different electrification and ICE engine, that whole thing, that divide that's happening, and your OEMs taking over your leads. We've got clients right now that their OEMs are intercepting their leads and then sending them to a dealership that took 6 hours for the OEM to send them their lead after they took it off their website. Like, that's not a shit to like navigate. Yeah, that's probably going to get worse, So, but the fact of the matter is like, we need to prepare people for that. And I think that in these younger people, though, they are more open-minded and they are more open to come up with solutions and things of that nature. I just think we got to meet in the middle, in a lot of ways. So we're hoping that this can be a catalyst for that. It's not going to be all about that too. I mean, if the audience thinking this is going to be a big change agency thing, no, it's not going to be that. It's going to be part of it. It's going to be a big part of it. But we feel like we'd be doing a group of people a major disservice if we didn't help address these things, because Joe and I have to deal with this every single day of our lives. The last, 15 years, this is what we had to deal with. And we see like the selection, hiring, orientation, and training side of things. Like, we see what a bad hire can do, it's like, okay, we took our first step off the cliff. We're just falling, at this point. We're going to hit the ground at some point in time. And so it's important to talk about those things and talk about like operational strategy and things of nature, how to incorporate all these tools and vendors and people on. So we're trying to address some of these gaps that we've seen over the years, so that when somebody goes to Vegas or they go to Tampa or they go somewhere else, they can hear about a vendor, or buy the next shiny object. Like they can do that there. But we're going to address the things we feel like aren't being addressed in a lot of situations.
Well, if anyone wants to learn more,
sounds like an amazing agenda.
Yeah, it's a shame you couldn't make it, huh, Jeff?
Sorry. I tried working it out, my friend. I tried working it out, and I appreciate you asking me for sure.
Yep.
No, I really do. What's the attendance looking like? What are you shooting for? And if anyone wants more information and would like to sign up, where to go, and also be sure to get a promo post over in the forums. We'll have your ads up to help promote that, but please do a dedicated thread so we can highlight that for you, gentlemen.
Love to. Awesome. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Listen, it's not going to be big. We want to cap the whole thing at 200. The majority are going to be dealers. So we will probably, once all sponsors and all speakers and camp counselors that work at organizations, they might end up being somewhere around 75. So maybe 100 to 125 dealers. And then we're going to cap it. Okay. And we just promoted it and sent it out and alerted our own clients of it 3 days ago on Friday, Saturday, the last day of the month, which wasn't smart on my part. But I'll hold some spaces for our own clients, past and present. But we want it to be a small, fun, inclusive environment where everybody gets the attention that they deserve.
Yep.
I think you guys will easily sell out. I have definitely confidence in that. I think it's such a different theme, very unique. I know you guys are going to put together some top class speakers and presenters. Well, no presenters, just trainers and speakers. I think it's such a unique concept that it's almost one of those things like I'm sitting there, I'm like, God damn it, I really wish I could go, because more now than what I did whenever we spoke.
Yeah. A lot of people say that. They're like, one person I know, they're like, if I don't get to go to this, I'm going to have a serious amount of FOMO. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to live with it.
Yeah. That's why we're saying it's the only conference you'll ever regret missing is because of that. Like we want it to be that way. It's not.
They can go to DealerKnows.com and find all the information on DealerKnows.com. I'm Joe at DealerKnows.com. He's Bill at DealerKnows.com. They can just email us, and I'll gladly answer any single question there is. Because as you can see, we're we're excited about this. And the truth is, again, regardless, I mean, like, yes, I believe I'm 100% sure we're going to sell out anyway, but regardless, I just want to be surrounded by the people I like the most, the people that drive me to do better, that hold me to a higher standard. And I just want to go and be able to celebrate this crazy thing called the car industry with those people for a few days outside and inside, and have some fun doing it.
Sounds like a good time.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we can.
Guys, we definitely appreciate you joining us.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, I know I've been on, you said 4 years ago, so 9 Bernas long.
I know, it's crazy. We'll get you back once you're. Well, how about this? We'll have you guys back on once this is over, so we can flush some different things out and maybe do a review.
Provided y'all make it out live, I'm up for that.
As Dan Sayer's asking, we need to know how many depantsings, rashes, atomic wedgies, and bear attacks happen. So
no guarantees on the bear attacks. There'll probably be
they're
some
black
mosquito
bears.
bites.
You're not worried about them.
Yeah, they're just black bear.
Yeah, we're going to gear up for, if we even need it, we're going to be geared up for suntan lotion or sunscreen and insect repellent. So I'm not even, listen, this I'm naturally like a mosquito's haven. So I am going to be covered head to toe in off.
Joe, I'll send you something that you'll want to use.
Please.
Yep. It works like a champ.
Is it Sawyer's Deep 100? Because that stuff.
No. It's a thing that I can't remember the name of it. I use it when I go out in the woods, and nothing touches me.
Done.
Yep.
It's bear piss.
What do you say? Is therapist?
I don't know what Jeff said.
What's that?
He said bear piss. That's what he said.
Oh,
bear piss.
Is therapist. Like, it'll never touch
bear
you.
Piss.
Therapist. But guys,
all right, guys.
Let's end on that note. All right.
You guys are great, and I appreciate
guys.
everybody's been listening as well. Everybody's been listening.
You got it.
Thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
Take care.
Well, you take care.